Do we just
Ties
roll
in with
again?
Beethoven.
Also, Star Paws?
Oh my God, Star Paws. I
Fuck.
I think I need alcohol for that one. All right, I have good news, everyone. We have jokes.
We have jokes. This movie didn't, but we do.
What do you have if you're?
We're gonna make sure that we give you an authentic. God, what was the name of this movie? I don't even remember. Star Paws. We'll give you, dude. They didn't remember the name of their own movie halfway through it. We'll give you an authentic Star Paws experience.
What do you have if your dog can't bark? A hush puppy.
Okay, no, my
Okay.
turn. My turn. What do you... This is from... I just want to shout out Ducksters.com, which says Ducksters, education site at the top. So you know it's going to be quality. What do you call a dinosaur with no eyes? Do you think he saw us?
Uh...
Do the next one.
I don't wanna.
More jokes. More joke. Another joke. If you don't, I will. What dinosaur would Harry Potter be? The dinosaurus or
my jokes are not that clever.
why was the Stegosaurus such a good volleyball player? Because he could really spike the ball.
What do you get when you cross a brontosaurus and a lemon? A dinosaur.
What do you call a sleeping dinosaur? A dinosaur.
What does a cat wear at night? Pajamas. Oh.
What does a triceratops sit on? It's tricera bottom. I didn't expect to get a top and bottom joke out of this education website, but hey, that's the future we live in. But this movie goes to the past, Boyks. Welcome to Rough Cuts. Hey, we're talking about Star Paws, which I saw the trailer for, and the trailer looked incredibly bad, and the movie was incredibly bad.
This might be the most accurate
That's
trailer
podcast.
we've ever watched.
That's the podcast. It was bad. It looked bad. It was bad. Mystery solved.
This might be the lowest budget film we've ever watched. It's
No.
definitely couldn't have cost them more than $50 to make this movie.
Oh, it definitely could. But it wasn't a lot more. Hey, listen. Let's be fair. For the middle schoolers that made this movie and presented it to their teacher, it was pretty decent as an effort. They'd have probably gotten a B+.
I would not have given this a B+. I would have... That red pen would have been empty at the end of grading this.
Oh, I mean, if it was middle schoolers...
No. They deserve to know that their efforts have been wasted and they are failures. That's just good education.
So this movie has... I want to go back and rewatch it, except that
No, you don't.
Because it
Shut
sucks.
up.
But I want to have a count of how many actual scenes there are. So what I mean by that is, like, because of how often they just reuse the same exact footage and just loop it over and over and over, I would love to see like a breakdown of how many actual shots are in the movie. It might not crack 20.
I think it's below 20. Yeah.
Like I don't think it'll crack 20. This is an hour and 20 minutes, people. It's an hour and 20 minutes, and I don't think there's 20 different scenes in the movie. Like there's different dialogue over those scenes, but I don't know if there's 20. And also, at least I would say 2/3 at least come in the last, like, what, 25 minutes of film?
Most of the scene transitions are in the end of the film, yes. Everything else is sort of between 3 locations. Locations.
You mean CGI backgrounds,
yeah,
right?
And then the director's living room. Yeah.
They do have the director's living room. That's true.
Yeah.
How else can you set up your doggy time machine?
Doggy time machine. So, okay.
They actually... Okay, hold up. That doggy time machine, don't insult it. That was actually the best part of this film. They spent some time on that. It looked... shitty.
You said they spent some time on it.
Than everything
okay,
else.
We need to preface that. They spent 15 minutes on that. That is technically time. Yes.
That was way more time than they spent on anything else in this movie, and you know it, and so I'm giving them that one. I have to try and find something. Please let me cling to something.
Okay, so the movie is called Star Paws, which is definitely a Star Wars ripoff movie where a dog travels the universe with his friends and fights against the evil empire trying to destroy the universe.
Evil cat empire.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's why they travel in a time machine back to the dinosaur era to try and find the legendary bone.
Yes. Sure. That makes sense. Yeah. All right. I'm in.
I'm not in. I'm out. I'm fucking out. You mentioned when we were watching this, and I agreed. This movie's actually kind of inspiring, right?
I mean, look, if this pile of shit can make it onto Amazon Prime, then it doesn't matter what you make. Like, it could be the worst thing ever, and it just doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Just fucking make things. Who cares?
You too, yeah. If this can get on Amazon Prime, you too can make a pile of shit that also makes it on Amazon Prime. Chase your dreams.
Whatever. So fucking bad.
I don't think this is the worst movie we've ever watched.
It's like arguably
it's
up
real
there.
close.
Yeah,
it tries.
fair.
It tries to get there, but I don't think it's the worst. It's close.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do we even cover this? There is so little movie to it.
I think we just read more jokes. I don't...
Why did the dinosaur cross the road?
To get to the other side.
To eat the chickens on the other side. Oh, Jesus, that's cannibalism, as we learned. Did you know, this is an educational movie. It teaches you all about how Cousin Wilma, the chicken, is cousins with Max, the T-Rex.
What?
Do you want to know about Max, the T-Rex's liver recipe?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh
This is
God.
a scene in the movie. The T-Rex explaining its liver recipe because they need to pad time.
No, they should have had the T-Rex explain a pad thai recipe so they could pad time. Hey! The only good joke of this episode! We did it!
You say that's the only good joke of this episode, but what did the dinosaur use to build his house?
I don't know.
A dinosaur.
I hate you. Okay, I guess let's talk about Star Paws. Oh, yeah.
I want to just do these bad jokes. It's much better than the movie.
Just throw in the jokes and I'll discuss the plot.
Okay.
So, Star Paws is a movie made by like 4 or 5 people, essentially 2 people, where they took a bunch of video of their dogs shooting at the rodeo of places that were nearby, and then they voiced over them and put them in a aluminum foil box with lights. Okay.
That was a time machine, yes.
So
when you say shoot the rodeo, so we're saying that they like shot at locations because they like anywhere they went, they just shot at areas where there was something interesting going on. And by that you mean they shot exactly at a bunch of extremely lazy Civil War reenactors, and then also at a petting zoo for about 5 seconds. Yes. Other than that, it's all green screen.
So, the main plot of the movie is that Dr. Bones is looking for the Bone of Legend, while Captain Adventure Cat is also looking for the Bone of Legend. So, the movie opens with a 5 to 10 minute monologue from Captain Adventure Cat about what the Bone of Legend is, which is a dinosaur bone that you can chew on, and it never gets smaller because it constantly regenerates bone. And they're going to use that to rule the universe.
Can I didn't pay a lot of attention to this movie, I'm going to admit.
Okay.
I kind of tuned out. So I have a question for you. Does Captain Adventure Cat need the Bone of Legend to constantly regenerate his own bones? Because it seems like they break a lot.
Okay, yeah, the animations are real bad. It looks like there's broken necks and arms and everything from this cat. There's also clones of the cat, aka they copy-pasted the same fucking model in the background to fill it.
And so they were like, "Oh, how do we excuse this? It's all his clone."
Not that it matters. It doesn't do anything.
Cat army.
So after his 5 to 10
their animations, I just need to spend just 2 seconds on like the animations are, they're constantly moving for this cat, like where he's doing huge, grandiose movements that would absolutely shatter every single bone in his body. Like, his head's, like, twisting 360 degrees all the time. Like, the eyes are stretching out of their sockets. It's wild. And then you get to the dogs, and they don't do anything with them. They're just dogs, and they don't even move. Like, they just sit there and pant. They don't... It's impossible to tell which dog is quote-unquote talking, because they don't even show you. They just show, like, a shot of 3 dogs, and they just sit there and pant and don't do anything. It rules.
Why do elephants have trunks? Because they would look silly with suitcases. So, after the 5 to 10 minute monologue of the cat, yes, they eventually get us to the dogs, where Dr. Bones and his sidekick Short Stack? Fuck, why do I know all the names?
I know more names from this than I know from Air Bud 2.
Repeat the monologue of the cat explaining about the bone again for another 5 to 10 minutes. It's the exact same way. But it's not them explaining it, it's the announcer explaining it, the narrator. And then Dr. Bones also explains it afterwards. So it's explained 3 times.
Well, and then it cuts to Dr. Bones at his press conference. By the way, it cuts to Dr. Bones at his press conference while Dr. Bones is still in the last scene explaining it to everybody else. So they have, like, the press conference scene going for about 10-15 seconds while they're still doing audio from the previous scene, which is very good. And then eventually it gets to the reporters talking to Dr. Bones, and they explain the plot of the movie for the 4th time in a row.
This movie's very incompetent, to say the least.
No, this movie is... I disagree. I think that this movie is extremely competent. You've just got to understand what their goal is.
To put children
Their
to
goal
sleep.
is to have an hour and 20 minutes of footage that they can trick people into buying for their small children. And they did it.
I can't believe they tricked me into buying this to make you watch it. So, anyways, there's a dinosaur bone, yada yada, whatever. So, the dog MIB, called BIA, needs to get the bone before the evil cat, Captain Adventure Cat, gets it. So, in order to do so, they are going to build a time machine to return to Jurassic Park to stop Samuel Jackson from dying to raptors. Wait. I think I'm confusing.
What do you call a paleontologist who sleeps all the time?
What?
Lazy bones.
Oh.
Oh.
So, in order to make a time machine...
I can't... I need to give everybody the authentic experience of watching this movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, so in order to build the time machine, they take a fragment from the bone of legend that was in a museum that they were going to throw out, but they decided to just put on a shelf rather than a display with no security. So Dr. Bones stole it using the BIA's massive technology, which is not the MIB's massive technology, because they're dogs, and they're the Bone Investigation Agency. So they travel from space to the museum on Earth, get the fragment, and then go to a lab which has test tubes full of Kool-Aid to do science.
I love that Dr. Bones, during this, they're like, so Dr. Bones, how do you do your formula to find out where this bone is from? And he goes, well, you take the red stuff and the green stuff, and then that makes blue stuff, and the blue stuff tells us where it is. And that is, like, word for word what he says.
It's extremely scientific. You wouldn't understand.
Red and green.
Really, so.
Yeah, you take the red liquid and the green liquid, and that tells you the stuff.
So after they do science for like another 10 minutes of just sitting in a lab talking about colored liquids, they tell us that not only is the bone chewable forever, but it's also filled with edibles.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if they meant to say that, but they threw it in there.
But they did.
They sure did.
They sure did.
Okay, and then we have a Who's on First scene with Captain Adventure Cat and all of his clones talking about the weirdness of cloning and who's the original and who's the fake. And if they're all clones of the exact same person, then doesn't that make them all the boss, not Captain Adventure Cat? And then they started talking about Tony Danza being the boss, which implies that Tony Danza is a cloned cat. I don't know. I'm lost at this point. What even happened?
What do you get when a dinosaur scores a touchdown?
What?
A dino score.
So after the Tony Danza scene...
That was about 7 minutes, by the way. That scene, that scene literally... I don't mean to try and pretend
so
like...
long.
I need people to understand. We're not... I don't think I'm exaggerating that. These scenes are 5 to 6 minutes long of them just doing this in very slow, monotone voices because they need to stretch time, and it shows. Oh boy, it shows.
So we cut back to Dr. Bones in his spaceship at the BIA agency in outer space, and they're discussing the fact that they are going to make a time machine now that they have the liquids from the bone of legend that they made using science. Okay. Now, in order to do that, they get their best astrophysicists on the line to grab their telescopes and look into the sky and determine the best way to break space-time to make a time machine.
Yeah, you get an astrophysicist to make a space-time machine. How else would you do it? It has space in the name. So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer to it. I want to see if you have the same answer. Why is this movie set in space in the beginning?
Star Paws?
Yeah.
No, that's the answer. Because they came up with the title Star Paws.
That's similar to the one that I had. My thought was that they found a lot of CGI-free assets that were space-themed.
free assets that they found online is a recurring theme in this movie. For sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Okay,
Absolutely.
I have a question for you. What do dinosaurs put in their cars? Fossil fuel. That's just what you put in a normal car.
That's what everyone puts. Everyone puts that in every. So, anyways, he goes to space, and they make a space-time machine.
No,
but
they don't go to
actually,
space yet because
they
don't make the time machine because they have to have a fashion show. You don't understand.
Oh, God, the fashion show. I forgot about that. There's a whole sequence to pad the film where they go, before we go back in time, we better be disguised so the dinosaurs don't recognize us. So then they take like 40 or 50 different photos of dogs in costumes.
Halloween costumes.
I mean, we're stretching this a lot because a lot of it is just a single hat. Like 95% of them are just a different hat on the dog. And
so,
then
do you remember why they needed to do the fashion show? Do you remember their bullshit reason?
To hide from the dinosaurs, yes, to disguise themselves.
To disguise themselves with a white sheet with holes in the eyes.
Yeah, they did actually do... That was one of the ones that wasn't just a hat. They had a ghost thing.
Goes on for 5 minutes. So anyway,
Yes.
We're in the director's living room now with a bunch of boxes covered in tin foil with calculators taped to them and tubes going around the edges with plastic wrap in front for a window. Right?
Correct.
So this is some Rugrats shit, basically. Is what's happening.
This is Calvin and Hobbes jumping into the time machine in a like cardboard box that just says time machine on the side that's poorly scrawled.
Yes.
It has very much that energy, but it's not okay. That makes it sound though like it's trying to be cutesy and make it look like it's something that like that makes it sound like that's on purpose and made to look cutesy and childlike. No, they tried to do it serious. They just couldn't do anything that wasn't childlike because they're very, very bad at this.
What's more annoying than a dog barking outside your window?
A dinosaur barking outside your window.
10 dogs barking outside your window.
Was that actually a joke from the book?
Yes! That's the
Okay.
joke. Anyway...
Need to make their space-time machine.
So, as they're making their space-time machine, they get stuck in a time loop of only going back 2 minutes and repeating the same 2 minutes for the rest of infinity.
Yeah,
Which
they
they
go,
break.
oh, we can only go back 2 minutes because it makes a time loop. And it's like, that seems like it would be a bigger problem than you're making it out to be.
Yeah,
if
wait a
you're in
minute.
a time loop. But they just go like, oh man, no, it just stops us from going in the past. That's how time loops work, right? It's like, no, but okay.
So, in order to advance their time travel technology, they enlist the help of a chicken that they heard about on their spaceship who has already perfected time travel. So, they need to go talk to this chicken at the local petting zoo that was near them that they could drive to. That petting zoo.
I mean, to be fair, it's also the Jurassic era.
It's also the Jurassic era right outside the petting zoo. Yeah. If you go 10 feet that way, yeah.
Yeah, when the dogs are walking up to the petting zoo, you can see like this kind of cracked earth area. Like it looks not desert, but like when it's like a muddy ground and then it gets dried by the sun and it all cracks up. And they have that with some bushes on it that you will see a lot throughout this film. Oh boy, because they go to the Jurassic era a lot in a little while. And that one patch of like 100 square feet is the entirety of the Jurassic era.
It sure is.
They don't even shoot it from other angles.
No, it's the
Like,
same.
that's the best part, is the bush is always in the same spot.
Oh my
They don't even
God.
bother. I'm gonna. Well, actually, wait. I'm like, you know what? I know why they only shoot it from the one angle. It's the only angle that doesn't have petting zoo in the back.
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
Probably it. It's
Yeah,
probably it.
and they didn't want to walk too far out, like away from the petting zoo, because that's effort. So
Well, there's
It's like
probably
right outside
not
their
any
car.
more ground that looks like that. There's probably not anything that's interesting cracked ground past that.
hey, why was the dog hungry all the time? Because it was a chow, man. It was a chow. I want some kung pao, man. It was a chow.
Oh man, I need some Kung Pao.
Fucking Christ. So after they're at the petting zoo, they speak to the chicken for a bit, which gives them not only the way to travel back in time, but also something they need to do at the same time and say for it to work. But they only speak in chicken, so yeah. But they didn't use chicken sound effects. They just made really shitty chicken noises.
I would have loved to have been that voice actor for a moment. 'Cause that's
So, with the chicken's special magical powers of traveling back in time, they're able to not only go to a Civil War reenactment, but also World War One for 2 frames.
at the same time.
For 2 frames at the same time period, yeah.
Yeah, there's a battle that's about to start between the Civil War reenactor in the Civil War reenactor period, and then it's like, oh no, we're at the Civil War, and then because the Civil War reenactors are way too shitty to actually do anything interesting, because they were all just like sitting under trees trying to be in the shade, because it's probably really hot where they were doing this reenactment. Like, it was incredibly lazy. Holy shit. I'll admit, I'm from Canada. I don't really see Civil War reenactors, but are they all that lazy? I'm guessing so, right?
Well, I'm guessing everybody in the Confederacy is fucking loser, so yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Got him.
But holy shit, like they're all just like laying down. It's just the most low energy shit. So at the last second, they're like, "Oh no, the battle's commencing," and it cuts for, like you said, about 2 frames to World War One soldiers coming out of a trench and an explosion.
Whatever.
They must have stolen that from a movie, right?
They had to have taken that scene from somewhere else, yeah. 100%.
Because, like, there's an actual explosion, and there's no way these people could have done that. Like, there's no way that they're interesting enough to know somebody else who would do that either. So they could shoot it.
So,
I think that had to have been stolen assets.
God, either there's free assets or stolen assets pretty much this entire movie. So,
What do dinosaurs use on the floors of their kitchens?
Oh god, I don't care. Linoleum.
Reptiles.
Have you ever wanted to murder someone on a podcast? I'm just asking for a friend. I don't... You can't use this as evidence. What are you, a cop?
What did... That sounds like you want another one of these jokes. What did the dinosaur put on her steak? The dino sauce.
So, they finally perfect their time machine using chicken magic, and they go back in time to the Jurassic period, and they meet Charlie Sheen as a T-Rex, and quickly avoid talking to him because that would advance the plot.
Correct. Yeah, I just realized that that's the person that they need to talk to this whole time.
It sure is.
They don't do it because they need to still have movie.
So instead, they spend the next 30 minutes doing edutainment about different dinosaurs.
The edutainment level... Here, let me give another sample of the quality of edutainment level that you would get from this. What game does the Brontosaurus like to play with humans? Squash.
So they go to different dinosaurs. They go to Triceratops. They go to Brachiosaurus. Raptors, which they use an invisibility potion on for some reason to get away from whatever. They also meet the Stegosaurus, which is a whole fucking ordeal. With
The Stegosaurus
Jesus Christ.
scene. More than anything. Good. Like, there's a lot of scenes in this movie, obviously, that go on way too long, as in all of them. But if there is a scene that goes on too long, even more than the liver recipe later, it's probably the Stegosaurus. They're like, Stegosauruses have small brains. They're very dumb. And so then they proceed to show that for about 7 minutes
Over
of just...
and over. Just beating a dead Stegosaurus for this fucking joke. And it's not good.
The Stegosaurus, all of these dinosaurs are like free assets that they found, and the animations are on a 3 or 4 second loop. And when I say animations, it's basic. A lot of the times, it is the neck squishing into the body of the dinosaur in a way that is incredibly disturbing, because it looks like if you were to do like, you know, you've seen The Thing, right? You know when it like starts transforming into some kind of horrible monstrosity? That's basically this animation every single time. It's like the start of those where like bones are cracking and it's going into like a weird contorted version of itself, and then it goes back to normal, and it just does that over and over and over on a loop.
It's kind of weird. In like
it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
No, in a discomforting way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely discomforting. It's really bad. It is hard to watch.
Knock knock.
Who is there?
Raymond.
Raymond who?
Raymond me to take the dog for a walk.
Okay. I was waiting for it to be an everyone loves Raymond thing. So everybody loves that joke because it's about Raymond, who we all love.
Nope. So
we're doing a really good job, I think, of instilling the energy of this movie into podcast form. We've really distilled this down. I'm proud of us. We've managed to just like
trash.
Fucking.
I hate it.
We have pinpointed exactly the feel of this movie, and I love it. It's very, very well done.
So they meet back up with Charlie Sheen T-Rex eventually, and Charlie Sheen T-Rex, after finding out that they know that chicken, which is their cousin, because the chicken went back in time and spoke to the T-Rex already. God, the T-Rex has a name too. Is it? Max?
It's Max.
Max.
It's Max.
Why do I know these names?
Did you know that chickens are relatives of dinosaurs? Edutainment! There we go, it's edutainment. We've done it. Our movie's edutainment. Buy it for your kids.
So, Max the T-Rex is not going to eat the dogs because they're bony and they would get stuck in his throat, and that's gross. Oh, but that other dinosaur will definitely eat you. Stay away from that dinosaur. That thing
He'll definitely fuck you up and kill you and eat you.
That thing will fucking murder you.
That's the one that has the legendary bone.
Yeah, so there's a dinosaur, a Spinosaurus, that is guarding the bone of legend. And they have to go through a maze, which they don't show, which doesn't matter. It past some eggs that don't appear, that might hatch into small Spinosaurus that would eat them. That also never happens.
The Spinosaurus doesn't even show up.
No, it's not in the movie. Weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, they
just walk into the next scene and it shows the bone.
I guess.
Well, not the bone. It shows the note.
Well, before that, they're talking to Max, the T-Rex, who's like, "Oh, I love my cousin Chicken. You should go say hi to them. They gave me a recipe for some gizzard soup, which was great. I love gizzards and eating chickens. And also, I have a liver. I have a liver recipe. You want to hear it? Okay.
Are you ready for my recipe?
I have a photographic memory, so do tell.
The secret is all in how you brown the onions.
Why?
Oh, I'm getting hungry.
Because they need to get to an hour and 20 minutes.
Onions in butter, and that's the secret. Then add liver, garlic, mushroom.
Oh my god, there's a fucking recipe.
15 to 15 minutes.
Here's the recipe. So, do you have a notepad? Get it ready for the recipe.
Make sure to write down the recipe.
I'm going to tell you.
I'll tell you it.
Okay, so I need to tell you the recipe, right? Do you have your pen? Okay, so there's a recipe. I'm going to do the recipe now. So you've got liver, right? Because it's a liver recipe. Do you have okay, so we get the liver because it's a liver recipe. I told you it was a liver recipe, right? So you get the onions, and then you put butter. But do you have liver? It's a liver recipe. We need to... And an oven, because it's a recipe, so you need an oven. Ovens are for recipes. Do you have a pen and paper for the recipe that I need to tell you? It has liver in it. Do you have the liver?
This is not an exaggeration.
But okay, but I said onions, right? Do you have onions? You need onions for the recipe. It's a recipe, so you put them all together and cook them, because recipes cook. So you turn the oven on. You do have an oven, right, for the recipe? I need you to... It's a good recipe. You eat recipes, but only once they're cooked, because you put them in the oven. So you have an oven, right, for the recipe with the liver. Okay, so you have the onions, and you put them in the pot for the recipe. Oh, but did you get the liver? Because it's also a liver recipe. I need you to have liver for my liver recipe. And if you cook the onions, so then you can put the liver in, and that's a liver recipe. So you get liver because it's a liver recipe.
I'm still dying.
And when you cook the liver, you put it in the oven. You got an oven, right? Fuck this movie, man.
That's not even exaggeration. That's real. That happened.
That's every scene. That's not this scene.
No.
I can't even make fun. I can't have fun with this anymore, because that's every scene of this movie. Every single time they're like, okay, I have a formula for the time machine. Are you ready for the time machine formula? It's for the time machine. So when you get the time machine formula, you have a time machine, right? Okay,
yeah.
So get the formula. Like, they have to... This is the most padded a movie has ever been. It would not fill a 5-minute short if you cut out that shit.
So after the extremely important liver recipe that they go on and on and on about...
Did you know... Is there a liver recipe? Let me tell you about the liver recipe.
Stop it. So they get
what came after the Boyks? What came after the dinosaur? Its tail. I needed to finish off the feeling of the liver recipe scene, because I'm sure there was a joke in there. Okay, so they get the recipe. Go ahead.
So they go to the location where the Bona legend is, but Captain Adventure Cat has already found it. So they go back forward. Off screen. It just happened.
Off screen. It's gone. So you don't need to show it, but it's just gone.
So they go forward in time. They're like, I have an idea. Let's go back in time. So they go back in time 5 minutes before, get the bone, put a fake one that they just had, I guess.
Thus negating the need for the rest of the movie.
And then at that point, Captain Adventure Cat says, aha, we got the bone, to the news. But then Dr. Bones is on the news and it's like, oh, that was a fake. Fucking got him! And then the movie ends.
That's not true. There's another scene. When you go back in the past, you change things, and that means that now Max the T-Rex is in modern day Manhattan.
With this liver recipe.
This liver recipe. Did you know that do you have a pen and paper for a liver recipe?
No, I don't.
So what you do is
Fuck off.
you get onions and you put it in. Oh wait, but also do you have liver? Because it's a liver recipe. So anyways, you get the onions and you start cooking them. But do you have liver? Because you're gonna need liver for a liver recipe. Oh, and it's a recipe, so you need an oven.
All right,
do you have an oven?
Look,
you said
we need to stop. This movie stopped. We need to stop.
But I need to pad out. How long is our podcast so far? It's only 40 minutes. Boyks, we need to pad the podcast.
We kept checking.
So anyway, there's this liver recipe, right?
I kept pop quizzing you about how long the movie was, and you were right, and I was so mad.
I was right every single time.
Like, God
Every
damn it.
single time, I was only a couple minutes off. It's one of my superpowers to know how long shitty movies have lasted. Even when they feel like it's been 5 hours, I can accurately say, oh, no, don't worry, there's still 30 minutes left. And you're like, there's no way. And then you look, and it was 30 minutes left.
No way.
I was able to do it again and again. Woohoo!
All right, let's
Yay.
rate the dogs. So there's Dr. Bones and Short Stack, right? They're
Yes.
like 2 cute little fluffy white
Bichon Frise?
toy dogs,
Something like that?
something,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're like, they're some kind of small dog, like a Bichon Frise or something like that.
I thought they were pretty cute.
They don't get pets anytime in this movie.
No, but they do get treats.
They
On-
do
on
get
screen.
okay. That was the best moment in this movie is when they had to get them to do something on the time machines. They put obvious treats in a bowl, and the dogs just on screen eat the treats from the bowl, and they say, "Aha! Yes, see, it's spinning the thing because that bowl is actually a gear."
Sure.
But it's not. It's not a bowl. It's a gear, kids.
It's different.
Remember that.
I would give them 1 extremely padded scene out of 10.
I'm gonna give them a science out of 10. I'm really sad that this movie is only dogs. Like, there's the only things that aren't CG animated for animals and stuff and like horrible used assets are the dogs.
And chicken.
Oh right, the chicken.
And goat.
Well, anyway,
Technically.
yeah, there's a goat for half a
Whatever.
second. It doesn't do anything.
Why are
it's
the
from
cats
background.
CG?
I don't know. But the dogs, I wanted them to do anything, and they did. Oh, wait. No, wait, hold up. I apologize. I just realized these dogs are much better than I realized, and this movie is much better than I realized, because there is one scene where the dogs do a thing, and it is the scene where they dig up the bone, and the people obviously pick up the dog and just kind of move it back and
move
forth
it on
like
top
a
of
brush
it? Oh my
across
God.
it. This very stiff
These
dog
are not-
who is very
these are not-
uncomfortable.
Stunt dogs in any way. shape,
No,
or
these dogs
form.
have no training, and so
No.
it's just like very stiffly being moved back and forth across this bone to make it look like it's digging, but it's just obviously a person holding it, like trying to move its legs, and it rules. It's incredibly awful, and it's great.
How do we rate Max the T-Rex?
Oh, the one with the liver recipe?
Wait, do you have a liver
So,
recipe?
do you-
so
do you have a liver- So what you do is you take some onions, but
God,
do you have a
fuck
liver?
off.
Liver is the liver recipe. It's a really good recipe. Recipes often require an oven, so what you do is you turn on the oven. But first you need to get some liver. Do you have the liver? All right, so you've got the liver, but get there's an oven too. You need to have an oven. So let's get the oven ready. Put it to 350, and then you need your liver. Did you go to the grocery store and buy some liver? But you also need onions. Onions go in first. You put in the onions, but then you need your liver. So you get the liver ready, and you put it in.
Anyway,
Thank you for watching Rough Cuts.
That's it for Star Paws. Thank you for listening and suffering through this absolute trash with us.
It's not the worst movie we ever watched. I will still put it out there that it's not the worst.
It's real close.
I don't know that you'll agree with me, and you might be right, but I don't think it was the worst. It's not my personal least favorite.
Thank you for the shout-outs. Thank you for the tweets, retweets, etc. Word of mouth, everything like that does matter. We appreciate it.
It really does. Yeah, it's a big deal for us.
We're over 30 episodes. I've been going for quite a while. The fucking list is apparently never ending. Again.
Just like these dinosaur jokes.
Just like this liver recipe.
What's the nickname for someone who put their right hand in the mouth of a T-Rex?
Dead?
Lefty.
Well, there's only one way we can end this episode, right? So, how does a dog say goodbye? Bon voyage.
Eat a bone? I no longer find you cute. Go away.
No need to upset you.
God, that is
Perhaps
the
you could
encapsulation
simply
of this
steer us
movie.
in the